I don't like your attitude.
Difficult.
The defense is wrong.
Everything that guy just says, bull. Thank you.
It's PFT PM and or PFT OT. It's both. It's both.
Is.
Audio, it's PFT PM. You'll see the videos of the thing. I should have taken this ridiculous shirt.
No,
PFT
it's the
OT.
theme of Monday. That's
it's
what it is.
just the bet for the show.
It doesn't matter.
This isn't
Wear it
the
with
show.
pride. Your quarterback's on fire. Your team's for real for like the first time in a long time.
I
Deal with
don't
it.
like this. I don't like the
course not.
Nike-fication of the NFL. I don't like the way that the numbers are, although the number 8 isn't all
looks great.
fancy.
And what'd you
I don't
say,
like
the
Vikings.
Nike-fication?
Nike-fication of the
Why?
NFL.
They've been
because
great.
once Nike got involved,
Yeah.
everybody change uniforms. Let's just have the same uniforms. Let's not make it complicated. You see the Steelers yesterday with their old block numbers. Let's go back. Yes, I'm old.
Well, doesn't
Get
Nike,
off my
Nike
lawn.
Was on there too.
No.
That's fine.
It was Nike as of 2012 cajoling every team into changing their uniforms. I don't like today's uniforms. I like the Packers. I like the Cowboys. I like the Raiders. I like the classic uniform.
I'm all about Nike, so I'd rather have them than some of the other apparels in charge of the uniform.
All right, he gets a free pair of Jordans. Go ahead, Nike. Send him his free
Please
shoes.
do.
He's going to kiss your butts
Let
because
me
he's got
know.
your
I
shoes.
have Kyrie Irving's on right now. I only wear Nike shoes. Please sponsor me, Nike. Please. I'm sick of spending money.
Did you have a shoe deal when you were playing?
Yes.
With who?
Nike.
Oh.
I wouldn't go to a college unless they were a Nike school. That's how Nike I am.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why you didn't go to Tennessee?
I said, the hell with that. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it wasn't the whole reason.
How,
I did want to go to a Nike school.
How good are the Vikings?
I mean, last night gives me the confidence to say that, I don't put them in the 49ers class, but I think they're very much in the conversation with that next group down in the NFC. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just go, oh, if they played the Saints are going to massacre them. I don't think so, no. I think that they could stand toe-to-toe with the Saints. Now, do I know if I think they could win that game? I don't know about that. But I think they every bit can beat the Packers, and I think they certainly, given a play here or there, could stand toe-to-toe with the New Orleans Saints as well.
What about the 49ers?
No, I think the 49ers, you didn't listen to me.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you.
I think are in a class of their own right now in the NFC.
At Minnesota, if it was 49ers at Minnesota.
Yeah, I still think it's a tough matchup for them. I think the San Francisco 49ers are the most well-put-together, balanced football team in the sport right now. So, yeah, I think they're the number one king of football. I think that your Minnesota Vikings are somewhere in that, 4 to 6 range, 3 to 6 range, wherever you may be. And I do think they're for real. If they can keep answering the bell and kind of playing big in some big moments. And again, they didn't totally crumble in Kansas City a few weeks ago. They didn't play their best, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, what a bunch of choke artists they were.
Well, and look, the Vikings are chasing the Packers, one game behind them in the NFC North. They can forge a tie in the division Week 16 and a split of the season series. Now, the Vikings have otherwise lost to the Bears in the division. It would get to division tiebreakers, maybe conference tiebreakers, common opponents, etc. It could get very interesting once it's time to start going below that first tiebreaker, assuming they do split the head-to-head series and they end up with the same record. But it could be the difference between the 2 seed and the 5 seed for the Vikings or the Packers. Or it could be the 6th seed, depending upon what the Seahawks do. But
this is not the year you want to be the 5 or 6 seed and go on the road in the NFC. And
no, because you're going to have to go to Dallas or Philly.
Yes.
Or you're going to have to go to either New Orleans or Green Bay.
Right.
And then
followed
when you
up
win
by
that,
one of those again, and then maybe play San Francisco in the NFC Championship. It's just gonna. It looks to me like you want to at least be a home team in the wild card. Let alone we know how important it is to have that first round.
Those buys are going to be critical. And as I said during the show today, there are 5 teams that are alive for the bye week: the Vikings, the Packers, the Saints, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. 2 of those teams are going to get the buys. Yep. And right now, who knows how that's all going to play out. Monday night's game is going to have a lot to do with that, too.
They got some things that, when you look at, playoff football, right? And it's defense and being able to run the ball. You got that going for you in Minnesota.
10 straight runs last night.
Right.
When they were down 21-20, the first time they fell behind in the game, 10 straight runs culminating in a touchdown. Mike Zimmer said that's the kind of thing that breaks a defense's will.
It does. It actually wears them out. And I think between the creativity they have in the run game and then, like we've said a million times, just the little formula they use off in the pass game. And again, they did this last night. Let's not forget with arguably their second best offensive player, Adam Thielen. he's not out on the field, I mean, that would have been another issue for the Dallas Cowboys to deal with too. So it was a really big-time win by that football team. And I think the thing more than anything, it just, not like I'm totally shocked they won the game, but the fact that they dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, to me, I think was more shocking than anything.
And with Adam Thielen's hamstring flaring up last week, the Vikings have the Broncos at home, then their bye.
Right.
They should just keep him shut out until after the bye when they go to Seattle for their next primetime test to prove whether or not they truly have changed the narrative or whether or not they're going to gack when they go back to Seattle. Remember last year, that game in Seattle, the offense could do nothing.
Yes.
The Seahawks defense not as good this year as it was
a better Vikings
last
offense.
year. All right, NFC East. Cowboys are now 5-4. Eagles are 5-4. Cowboys won the head-to-head matchup. They play again later this year in Philadelphia. That one's coming up at Week 16. But between now and then, look at what the Cowboys have. The Cowboys go to Detroit this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, they may not get Matthew Stafford, which will help.
Yeah.
Still not an easy place to play. Then they go to New England.
Yeah.
Then they got the Bills on Thanksgiving. That's not going to be an easy win.
No, it won't.
Then they go to Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't care how good or bad the Bears are. Going to Soldier Field in December, not an easy game. Then the Rams come to town. We saw what the Rams did to the Cowboys. Was it last year or the year before when they went to Dallas?
Well, no, I mean, last year, 2 years ago.
They beat them in the playoffs.
But 2 years ago in Dallas when they
destroyed
beat them there too. Right.
Destroyed them.
Right.
Then it's at Philly, Week 16. The schedule really doesn't soften until the last game of the season when they host Washington. The Eagles, on the other hand, now the Eagles host New England, which is a hell of a lot better than going to New England.
Definitely.
They host Seattle. They go to Miami. They play the Giants. They're at Washington. So they got 4 of their final 5 games are winnable because they still play the Giants twice down the stretch, and the Giants feel like they're falling apart. Right now, I think the Eagles are going to win that division.
I do too.
And the Cowboys may miss the playoffs. And if they last night's game could be the difference between Jason Garrett remaining employed as the Cowboys coach and not remaining employed, because I think after last night's game, there is a very real chance they don't make the playoffs.
It's scary. I mean, what you're getting scared of with teams like, the Eagles and the Cowboys is, you continue on. You almost have to win the division. But I'm with you, Mike. I have more confidence in the Eagles. And even though, like, Dallas answered the bell last year, I get that, and they went on a run, and they're still capable of that. My big thing is, I think, hey, the Dallas Cowboys, their offense is better than most years. It really is. Ezekiel Elliott in the run game is not as explosive. That concerns me. But the overall offense is as good as it's been maybe since Tony Romo in his prime. My big thing is the defensive side of the ball. And there is not enough game plan specific game planning by the defense in Dallas, where I look at Philadelphia and they're just getting healthy. They're starting to run the ball on offense, and their corners are back playing good. Fletcher Cox is finally 100%, and then Jim Schwartz does crazy crap. Sometimes it bites him in the butt, but he is creative and he thinks outside the box, and he's not going to just sit there and go, I'm going to this is my defense and this is what I do, and we're just going to hustle and play sound. That's all cool and dandy against like the lower middle class and lower class in the NFL. You can get away with that when you're a team like Dallas or Philadelphia. But if you want to beat teams like the Patriots or the 49ers or the upper class teams, you can't just go, this is what we do. And this is what we're going to do, and we know what we're going to do, and this is just we're going to execute. No, it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. And, we've seen it again. Dallas and their losses, when it's a decent offensive system and a quarterback who can move a little bit, and they have a weapon, they can't overcome it. As talented as they are, and they're as talented as any defense in football, they can't overcome it because their scheme never gives them help.
And why don't they change it?
I don't know.
It's amazing.
It is.
And it all goes back to Jason Garrett. And look, the Cowboys have stubbornly stuck with Jason Garrett for a variety of reasons. I think Jerry Jones has some pride in that he's developed and he was patient with Jason Garrett, and now he's getting the payoff. And also, Jason Garrett's not going to try to take any of the spotlight away from Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones recently insisted Jason Garrett's not a yes man. I don't know that that's the issue. The issue is Jason Garrett never tries to take over and lets the Joneses be the center of the Cowboys universe, and that's the way they like it. I think right now when you look at the schedules, you look at where the Eagles are, you look at where the Cowboys are, I think the Eagles win that division, and there's a good chance the Cowboys don't make it to the playoffs at all. The Chiefs, let's flip it over to the AFC.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about them not making the playoffs, but I am starting to just worry about whether or not they're as good as we thought they were. We see the huge win over the Vikings. with Patrick Mahomes out, Mahomes comes back, they just continue to self-destruct. They find different ways to fail to live up to their potential week in and week out. They've had the 3 home losses, inexcusable, and now they had a game that they had won in Nashville. They should have been up 17-0 in the first half. It could have gotten out of hand. The Titans hang around. The Titans steal it. And now they've got 4 losses. The Chiefs do at 6-4. Here are the Raiders at 5-4.
Right.
And they play each other again coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, the Chiefs are good and dangerous. I just don't know if I look at them as a team and just go, oh man, they're an unstoppable machine, like you said. I mean, to me, it's just so much is predicated on the offense and their ability to jump out on you and keep pressure on you that way to where you're in a shootout with the wrong team. But they have not been able to get teams really into those type of games this year for the most part. You know, hey, the Houston Texans game, they get out early. They kind of let them come back, get out. I believe they got out, in that one? I want to say almost like 10-0. And I'm going to pull it up. Yeah, it's 10-0. They let the Texans hang around, and all of a sudden the Texans come back, and it's a ball game. The Packers game without Mahomes, that was there to be had. You heard me say a million times, Rodgers takes over. There's just no greatness on the defense, and if the offense is not executing at a great high level, which is where their money is on their team, they're in trouble. It becomes an even football game with teams like the Titans and everything like that. Yesterday, to me, the biggest thing with them is settling for field goals. You're the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't settle for 4 field goals. That's not what you're made to do. That's not why you drafted Patrick Mahomes there. It's not why you're paying Sammy Watkins like he's Odell Beckham Jr. It's not why you're paying Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, all those guys. They had a few unfortunate penalties that hurt them in those instances down there in the red zone too. But to me, that's where they're going to have to win games still. It's through their offense and Mahomes and just putting the pressure on you to keep pace with them.
And what they have left is the trip to Mexico City to face the Chargers next Monday night. And look, the Chargers did not look good on Thursday night, but now the Chargers may be sliding into spoiler mode. They'd like to screw things up for the Chiefs. Then comes the bye, a very late bye for the Chiefs, Week 12. Week 13, that is when the Raiders go to Arrowhead, a huge game. Then it's at Kansas City the following Sunday. Denver Broncos, Week 15, at the Bears, Week 16. The Chargers come to Kansas City Week 17. There's a lot of wins lurking there. I think the only clear loss that stands out to me is the Patriots. So they should finish 11-5. They really should.
Well,
that may not be good enough for a bye, and they may have to host the 5 seed, the first or the 6 seed rather, the first weekend of the playoffs. But I think they're going to get in. I just don't look at them as a team. I think the buys are going to be the Patriots and the Ravens.
Well, I think the Chargers are going to be a pain in the butt for them. If we just see the Chargers, like if Phillip Rivers doesn't crap the bed like he did last week on Thursday Night Football.
He crapped the bed repeatedly.
Yeah, he did. So, okay, and you saw the run game finally come alive. If they can run the ball, I mean, again, and we know Phillip Rivers in the pass game are capable of doing some things there and putting up yards and points.
They had to throw out the mattress. He crapped the bed so many times.
Well, yeah, they had to change it out. But yeah, okay, but you just think about that and you go, they're going to be able to move the ball on the Kansas City defense. And then Kansas City has ultimately struggled against the Chargers. Last year, they went into Kansas City and beat them on a Saturday night, right? I mean, it was a Saturday night game, or maybe it was a Thursday night game. Either way.
It was the Thursday night game.
Yeah, either way.
That was for that moment we thought the Chargers are going to be the 1 seed. There was a while last year where the Chargers are going to be the 1 seed in the AFC.
Their defense is still really good. I think they'll be a pain in the butt for the Chiefs. So I'm not going to sit here and just go, oh, yeah, the Chiefs are going to beat the Chargers. No, I can't say that. I can't. And then, the Patriots doesn't look good. So
at the Bears, look, it's still
at the Bears. Soldier Field,
December 22nd.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be 5 degrees. The Raiders, with the way they run the ball right now and the way they're executing on offense, they're going to be a pain in the butt. So the Chiefs just aren't dominant enough as a complete football team for me to sit here and just go, oh, they're going to run over everybody on their schedule. No.
All right. Well, we'll see how it plays out. But I worry about the Chiefs from the standpoint of, to have that kind of special season, you need to get the bye week. You don't want to go on the road to Baltimore. You don't want to go on the road to New England in the divisional round, and that looks like what they're going to have to do, assuming that they hold serve and win at home. They're the kind of team that could lose at home in the wild card round. We've seen it before.
Yeah. Thinking
ahead to what's next and not being locked in and dialed in for that wild card round game if it's the Raiders that come back again. If it's the the Steelers that roll into town as the 5 seed or the 6 seed. That could get very interesting in the AFC playoff picture. All right, next topic we still got a couple more. The Saints. Are we worried about them? Not with the Chiefs, it's how worried should we be. With the Saints, it's just generally, are we worried? They've got their second loss. They're 7-2. Are we concerned that there's something bigger going on with the Saints, or was yesterday just a one-time fluke?
I think it's a little bit more of a fluke. If you made me bet on that, yes, it would be that. Now, again, I don't think like the Saints or the old day Saints of like this high flying, you can count on them to score 30 points a game and do all that stuff anymore. We got to get used to, the Saints are a little bit more of we're going to slug it out with you. We're going to run the ball. Drew Brees is going to be really consistent and accurate with the short to intermediate pass game. Sean Payton's going to dial up a up yours play every now and then. That's what they are. But even I look at games like, okay, yeah, the Bears, on the scoreboard it's going to look like it's 36-25, but we watched that game. That game was like the first half, it was tight. They just eventually pulled away because the Bears can't do anything on offense. The Arizona Cardinals game, let's not forget it was 10-6 in the third quarter, and the Cardinals went for it on 4th and 1 on their own 29-yard line. That kind of opened the door there. The Jaguars game was 13-6. The Cowboys was 12-10. So I think they're a defensive run first football team. I'm not concerned with them. I don't think they're as good as the 49ers or the Patriots, but I still think this is a really good football team. I think they'll rebound and still be – I think ultimately I still think they're going to be a first-round bye team.
I'm not ready to say that, though.
No?
I'm not ready to say that. They've got the 49ers coming to town eventually, and I'm not ready – to hand them a bye. I still think it's going to be a scramble. And again, it's the 5 teams I mentioned. Yeah. The Packers, Vikings, Saints, 49ers, and Seahawks. 2 of those teams are going to get it, and I think it's wide open at this point.
We're going to say, let's just say for argument's sake,
I think the 49ers get one
right now, right? They get one
but they may not be the 1 seed.
Okay, that's fine. I hear you there because they have some tough games.
But they still got to worry about the Seahawks. They could still end up being a wild card. The Seahawks win the division.
I know, you're right. But right now, they're 2 games back. Right. So, but okay, so then who is that next team? If you just had to peg it, like I just want to know, because I like your gut, as I talk about all the time. It's pasta and meatballs, and it thinks smart. It's better than your brain. What if you had to pick your team to be the 2 seed or the other first round bye? Who would it be right now? Would you go with the Saints or would you go with the Packers? It's a good one.
This goes against everything I've said all year long, but after what I saw last night, I could see the Vikings being the 2 seed.
Holy crap! Are you guys watching this show right now? He just picked the Vikings.
I didn't pick them to be. I said of all the teams out there. Based on where the Vikings are, based on how they did last night, based on the Packers being kind of a wobbly 8-2, the Saints a wobbly 7-2, I could see the Vikings.
Are you saying you're a believer in Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings?
I have a microphone right here.
I just wanted to play interviewer there.
Yeah. All I said is, it won't surprise me. Any of those 5 teams, it won't surprise me.
It wouldn't.
But I could see the Vikings catching the Packers. I think the Vikings will catch the Packers. The question is, will that 12-4, 13-3. I mean, they have to run the table at this point. Does 13-3 become the requirement to get a bye?
Yeah, right.
Or can you get it with 12-4?
Yeah, will Green Bay slip up a little bit and give them a
and it comes into tiebreakers. And let me tell you an important tiebreaker. If the Vikings finish 12-4, one of their losses is to an AFC team, so that makes their division or their conference record better, which could be helpful if they have a head-to-head tie with the Saints.
Yeah.
All right, last topic before we go, the Rams, and specifically Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley had 12 carries for 73 yards through the first 3 quarters of Sunday's loss to the Steelers. No carries in the fourth quarter. And, it's every week I feel like they've almost told the media that covers the Rams, don't ask about Todd Gurley's knee. Like everybody, that's the elephant in the room that they never want to talk about. And Sean McVay, we're managing or this or that. If the opportunities weren't there, the flow of the game. This comes down to one thing and one thing only. The guy's knee is bad, and they don't want him to be in a spot where he can't play at all like last year. So they're being extra careful with his knee. You noticed in film study earlier this year, it seems like he's trying to protect the knee.
Definitely.
He's not the guy he used to be.
No.
Why can't we just say that?
I
What's
don't
wrong
know.
with saying Todd Gurley's not the guy he used to be? Todd Gurley's not a workhorse anymore. Todd Gurley's got an arthritic knee that we're trying to protect. Why is it some big secret? I feel like they're working harder. It's a bigger distraction to them dancing around it than it is that they just admit it.
I agree. I mean, no, everybody knows. I mean, come on.
Unless they've got this scam going where all of a sudden, week 16, they're going to unleash the hounds, and Todd Gurley's going to be 35 carries a game, and
I wish.
We've duped you all season long.
Yeah.
But I don't see it happening.
No, I don't see it happening either. There's and Todd Gurley is still good. Don't get me wrong. He's very good. But, like, is he great? MVP level, NFL offensive player of the year level type of running back anymore? I don't think so. I don't. I just see too many runs on film too where I go, oh, that was a 6-yard gain. But man, the Todd Gurley early last year or late in 2017, that 6-yard gain would have been a 26-yard gain. Or I go, ooh, that's a 20-yard run. That's all good. And it's going to be nice on the stat sheet. But the old Todd Gurley, that 20-yard gain would have been a 70-yard touchdown. He would have hit his head on the goalpost. Again, it's not always about the bottom stat line. It's what's there to be had. And, they're paying him like he's one of the best or the second best running back in the sport. And he is. He's banged up. They don't have a great offensive line. I get all that. But he's certainly not the special talent that we saw the first few years in the NFL. He is not on the level of a McCaffrey or a Dalvin Cook or a Saquon Barkley or a Nick Chubb at this point, or a Leonard Fournette. Okay, I mean, I'm going down the list. He's not on their level. It's just not.
We need to wrap up, but before we go, something that just popped up this morning.
Whoa.
A guy from your draft class, Charles Rogers, passed at the age of 38.
Are you kidding me?
Second overall pick in 2003. And never really found his footing in the NFL. I remember the Duluth sample that, it was a big deal before he was drafted. The Lions drafted him anyway, and he didn't play for very long in the NFL, but just a stunner. No details available. Teammates have confirmed it. Chris Baker, who played with Rodgers at Michigan State, wrote on Twitter that he spoke to Charles' mother this morning, and we send our condolences to Charles Rogers' family, and friends, and teammates when he was with the Lions.
Got to be around him a little. He was always a really nice, pleasant guy. Obviously, didn't work out in the NFL, and he was a little mixed up that way. But, man, yeah. I mean, I can still just remember seeing him at the Combine and even pregame NFL games a few times. Just always was a smile. Was a good human being, and that's a shame.
And it doesn't work for everybody, and that doesn't make someone a bad person. It just sometimes it doesn't work.
No,
and
the NFL's crazy.
And the pressure and the hype. I mean, you think about it. You're in your early 20s, and you're walking out into a venue with 70,000 people there, and road game. 70,000 people who hate you.
Sure.
70,000 people who are screaming horrible things at you. And, fantasy football was a big deal in the early part of the last decade when Charles Rogers came out. You got all these – now social media – wasn't when he played, but you got all these people who are harassing you now and calling. It's you wonder why guys want to smoke weed when they're playing. They need that to just
tune out,
calm down.
Yeah, right.
Because they are under enormous pressure. We think it's a glamorous life. It is far from glamorous. You've got physical pain. You've got agony at times. You've got constant pressure. You've got family members who are relying upon you.
That's the big thing.
You've got family members who are ready to call you out. That's the thing.
They're preying on you.
They're going to call you out more than the strangers on social media. They're going to make fun of you, and this cousin's going to send some passive-aggressive text message, and they're going to make jokes that aren't really jokes. They're trying to stick it to you because they're at some level jealous of your success.
Yeah.
This is a tough life. And but we just assume it's just this guy's gonna. Every guy, even if you're drafted in round 7, he's gonna be a millionaire. No, he may not even make the roster.
No,
most guys at that level don't.
No, and you're not a millionaire if you're gonna be a 7th round pick or anything like that. People, when you get into the NFL, people expect you to pay the check no matter what. Like, you're making tons of money. Yeah, okay, but you work on Wall Street and you're gonna be there for the next 40 years. Nobody ever gets fired on Wall Street. Like I know 1,000 guys. Like I've seen 2 of them get fired my whole life. This is the NFL. You have a short window. Everybody thinks, everything's fine and dandy, let alone your family just all over you. People, more times than not, players in the NFL come from nothing. My father was one of those guys, and I know he always had a burden of trying to support his mom and dad and family members and people that, were less fortunate than he was. And those play into the pressure like you're talking about that is put on players. And, it's not always easy.
Well, I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole. Mainly this is about expressing condolences for Charles Rogers, but damn it, people, we just think that it's a hell of a lot easier for these players than it is. They are under, like I said, a ton of pressure, a ton of stress, and they're banged up, and they have surgeries, and we get desensitized to a lot of it. We shouldn't be. So anyway, on that,
our condolences to Charles Rogers and his family. And let's go out on a happy note.
what do you got? The Moose is coming.
Yes, here we go, Vikings.
Here comes the Moose.
Kirk Cousins. Woo woo. Mike Florio, Kirk Cousins.
And then watch
They're the two best friends that anybody could have. They're the two best
They'll
friends
lose to the
that
Broncos
anybody
on
could
Sunday.
have. Oh,
and
shut
ruin
up.
it.
You just said they might
And
get a
ruin
first
it.
round bye.
Actually, that's the kind of game they win. So if narratives are going to be reversed, now it's time to reverse that narrative and lose to the Broncos on Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow. PFT Live tomorrow. Chris Simms Unbuttoned later today. He's going to take a deep dive or
Into
something
two games,
into
yes.
2 games.
Yeah.
Even if it's not one of the 2 games that you
Yeah.
vote for, he may
Executive
ignore
decision.
you. Executive decision.
Yes.
He's not an executive and he doesn't know how to make decisions. See you tomorrow. Everybody have a great day.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.